When we imagine a pharaoh, we see gold, power, and godlike status. But peel back the glittering mask of ancient Egypt's rulers, and you'll find something else entirely: pressure, paranoia, and the crushing weight of expectation. Being a pharaoh wasn't just about luxury, it was a 24/7 job, filled with politics, divine responsibility, and sometimes betrayal. From the moment they were born, future pharaohs were told they were gods in human form. But with that divinity came pressure. Their childhoods weren't normal. They were trained in warfare, religion, diplomacy, and leadership before they could even read fluently. And failure, not an option. If you weren't perfect, you weren't just a bad king, you were a disappointment to the gods. Every move was scrutinized by priests, nobles, and the public. Imagine growing up knowing your every action was cosmic law. Pharaohs weren't just kings, they were considered living gods. That meant they were expected to be infallible. If the Nile didn't flood on time, people blamed the pharaoh. If disease spread, clearly the gods were angry at him. They had to perform endless rituals to keep Ma'at, or cosmic balance. Miss one sacred ceremony, or anger a priestly class, and the kingdom's entire spiritual order was said to collapse. Being divine meant you couldn't get sick, couldn't show weakness, and definitely couldn't cry, even when your own children died. Pharaohs were constantly under threat from rival nations, rebellious provinces, and even their own families. Assassinations were not uncommon, and palace intrigue was as common as grain in the Nile Delta. Even trusted generals and high priests could turn. The royal court was a minefield of fake smiles and whispered plots. One wrong alliance, one unpopular decision, and a ruler could vanish from history altogether, literally. Pharaohs who fell from favor had their names chiseled out of monuments. Every pharaoh was expected to build a temple, a monument, or of course a tomb. But these weren't just architectural marvels. They were symbols of eternal legacy. To die without a proper tomb was to risk spiritual oblivion. That meant construction started immediately after they took the throne. Organizing thousands of laborers, managing massive budgets, and outdoing previous dynasties was exhausting. One poorly built pyramid, and your afterlife was in jeopardy. Some pharaohs ruled only a few years and died before their tombs were finished, leaving rushed, chaotic legacies. Even death didn't bring peace. Pharaohs were buried with scrolls, spells, and curses, not for honor, but for protection. They feared grave robbers, vengeful spirits, and the possibility that they might fail the weighing of the heart test in the afterlife. Their mummification process was elaborate and terrifying. Organs removed, brain pulled out through the nose, and tomb walls covered in instructions on how to survive the afterlife's many monsters. In the end, being a pharaoh was more than stressful. It was a lifetime of spiritual anxiety, political danger, and cosmic pressure, all wrapped in gold.